Getting ghosted by potential clients sucks, but following up correctly can significantly reduce how often you get ghosted. I learned this the hard way when I lost a $4,000 dream photography client, not because they didn't want to work with me, but because I made this one follow-up mistake that 90% of creatives make. 2 months later, I saw that same dream client posting photos with another photographer with all of my recommendations of a studio, wardrobe stylist, and makeup artist. I fixed this mistake by building my 8-email follow-up system, and I've booked clients from those last follow-up emails, number 7 and even number 8. In this video, I'm going to show you my 8-email follow-up system that I send to every potential client that comes my way. And stick around because I'll show you exactly how to set this up in Gmail so that it only takes 2 clicks to send. Now, I can already hear you saying, Emily, 8 emails, that seems like too much. Let me tell you why it's not too much. I have been in my booked out era where I was shooting 3 to 4 times a week. And when you're shooting 3 to 4 times a week, that's a lot of admin work. That's a lot of people you're juggling and everybody's at a different stage in the process. If you don't have systems in place, it is a lot to keep up with. I got on a sales call with this potential dream client. They knew exactly what they wanted. They were asking about the timeline and they were like ready to book ASAP. This call was towards the end of the day. And at the end of the call, I always say, okay, I'll send you the info. When I went to do that, I opened my email. I had a bajillion unread emails. And I said, you know what? This is a tomorrow morning task because I had to customize the proposal. I had to write up the email and that took some time before I had my systems in place. The next day rolled around. I forgot to send it because there was just so much else going on. A few months later, I'm on Instagram and I see that potential client got their photos done with a different photographer, but followed my exact plan. And it's all because I didn't follow up. Now, what I learned from this was entirely my fault. I know some people might say, oh, if they really wanted to work with you, then they would follow up. And yeah, maybe that's true. But as a photographer, we are in the customer service business, and I did not provide the customer service that they needed. Now, I could have taken this personally, and I definitely did a little bit, but instead of just wallowing in, oh no, they don't like me, I built the systems that prevent this from ever happening again. When potential clients don't respond or when they don't follow up with you, 90% of the time, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them, their schedule, and everything going on in their lives. I mean, think about your own inbox. I know I have like a million unread emails in my inbox that I keep telling myself I'll get back to and then never do. That could be happening to your emails and it has nothing to do with you. I used to get really offended when people would not respond to my emails, or I've even had people miss their initial sales call, but I always give them the benefit of the doubt because one time I had another dream client who didn't show up for their scheduled sales call. Turns out they went to the emergency room. We got on the call a week later and that client ended up booking me for several sessions. If a potential client doesn't get back to you, it's rarely about you or your work and 100% about them and how overwhelmed they are. So that's why it's our job as the photographer, as the creative service provider, to take that off their to-do list. So when you follow up with them, you're not annoying them, you're not bothering them in their inbox, you are reminding them, hey, I know we talked about this thing, are we still gonna do this? It is a service. When you go out to eat at a restaurant and the waiter asks you, hey, do you want dessert with your meal? You don't get annoyed that they ask, they're just doing their job. You'll either say, oh no, thank you, or yeah, I want dessert, give me a cheesecake. They know I might want it, they're making it easy for me. It's the same thing when you are following up with potential clients. When we follow up, we are not just saying, hey, just checking in. We're providing a very clear path to the next step. And that is why I developed this 8-email follow-up system. We're gonna go step by step through my full follow-up system. And this starts when that potential client fills out the contact form on my website. So that's this bubble right here. If they consent to receiving marketing emails, basically that means they've consented to sign up for my email list. I have an automation that will add them into my email marketing system. So whether you use Flowdesk or MailChimp, MailerLite, whatever, that's what I do. If not, then we just skip that step. And the first thing that they get is this autoresponder email that goes from my CRM. So this form, this is my CRM's contact form, whether you use 17 Hats, Honeybook, Dubsado, whatever, that's this form. Then through your CRM, you can set up this autoresponder to say, hey, we've received your message. I like to do this just so that they know, hey, your message didn't get lost in the void. I got it. And I will get back to you when I get back to you. Then inside of this autoresponder, I have a link to my call scheduler so they can go ahead and schedule a sales call or discovery call. I use those interchangeably. So if they did go ahead and schedule a call, then we take the call. But if they did not schedule a call, then I send a personalized follow-up email basically as soon as possible. And in this personalized follow-up email, I again give them the link to schedule that discovery call. And I customize it a little bit. So if they've told me about their business, I'll say, oh, I love working with blah, blah, blah. If they schedule a call from here, then I take the call. But if they did not schedule the discovery call, because that's the next step that people need to take with me, then I send a first follow-up here. And then from here, I hope that they take the call. And if they don't, I send one more follow-up email directing them to take the call. At any point in this process, you need to be giving your client the next step, not like the 3 steps that happen after that, because what happens after that is then they'll get the proposal, then they have to sign it, the contract, whatever, pay the invoice. No. At this point, all I want them to do is take the call. So So everything that I say directs them to take the call. So now we take the discovery call, and we won't have time in this video for me to go through my whole sales call process. If you want me to make a video on that, let me know. After we do the call and I figure out what package works for them, or if I need to send a custom proposal, then I will send the proposal. And this is also an email template. So anything in this tan color here is an email template that I just have to boop, boop, pop it in, and it sends. So then I send them the proposal. And from there, okay, well, did they sign and accept the proposal? If yes, amazing. Then I will send them their onboarding guide, which is also templated. Or if they don't, then I will send this first follow-up, which usually directs them to sign the contract. If they, after this email, did not sign the proposal, then I send a soft follow-up email, which directs them to sign the proposal. If they don't do it, then I have another follow-up that's a little bit firmer. This also directs them to sign the proposal. And then after that, they go into my full flow of being a client, which is a totally separate thing that I do for my brand photography process. I have a video that goes over part of this process. It's my planning video, so you can go watch that if you want to learn more. I know this might seem like a lot, but I have had clients book from this last email, this 8th email here. It's not weird. They're not annoyed that I followed up with them. Most of the time they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Life's been crazy. Like, yeah, let's get it booked. Even after sending all of these follow-ups, do I still get people that ghost me? Yeah, of course. I can't control other people's actions, but at least after sending all of these follow-ups, I know that I've done everything I possibly can to close the loop and get them to book with me. If I don't hear from them, they either start getting my email newsletters where I can keep following up with them and nurturing them that way, or I have other email templates where I will reach out to past leads that I haven't heard from about once a quarter or every 6 months and close the loop that way. Sales truly do happen in the follow-up if you do it right. Now, if you're thinking, Emily, this is great, but what the heck do I say in these emails? I have all of these email templates and more in my client communication toolkit. These are not AI generated, not that there's anything wrong with that, but these are the exact emails that I have been sending for years. They're tried and tested in my own photography business, and they work. In this toolkit, you'll get all 8 emails that I've talked about today and other email templates that I use to communicate with past clients, like when I raise my prices, when I ask for testimonials, when I introduce referral partners, and when I do cold outreach. It also comes with editable Canva templates that you can customize for when you need to send a custom proposal or when you are onboarding a client. All the info is in the description, and you can literally start following up with clients today. My action item is to go follow up with a potential lead sitting in your inbox, or if you have somebody that reached out a few months ago and you never heard back from them, follow up with them now. It's not weird. I have a template for when I do this exact same thing. If you use Gmail, let me show you how to make this super duper easy. The setting is not enabled by default. I don't know why. What you're going to do is click on the settings up here, then go to see all settings. And once you're here, you're going to click on this tab, advanced, and then under templates, you are going to enable these. When you do this, this is what lets you send email templates in like one click. So here I am composing a message. All you have to do is click on these 3 dots, templates, and then whatever template you need. I have a lot because I use these all the time, but I have my inquiry follow-up number 1, number 2. I have sending the proposal. I have absolutely everything in here and more. So don't be copying and pasting from a Google Doc or a note or whatever. You can do it right inside of Gmail, and it saves you so much time. Now, there are some follow-up emails that I send from my CRM and some that I do directly in Gmail, just because it's easier for me. When I am following up in Gmail, this is the process that I use. So here I've sent a test email to myself. Let's say this is a potential client. Well, what I would do to remind myself that it's time to follow up with them is I would reply. I would say, fill in my follow-up template. Hi, schedule a call with me, and pretend there's a link there. I would send it. And whenever I send an email from my CRM, I BCC myself, so it always shows up in my inbox. What I'm going to do is click here. I'm going to check it. I am going to label it as follow up with a colored label just so it's easy for me to see. And then I use the snooze feature in Gmail. What this lets me do is snooze it until later today, tomorrow, whenever. And let's say I'm going to snooze it until next Monday. I will archive it. And then when that snooze time comes around, what happens is that email shows back up on my inbox again. So you see over here in orange, it says June 30th. So on June 30th, it would show up in my inbox. It'll say follow up. And what that indicates to me is, oh, it's time for me to follow up with this client. And then I'll go in and I will populate it with the appropriate follow-up email template. Now, how often you follow up really depends on you and their timeline. I will generally follow up every week because that's how my timeline works, the way I work with clients. If they indicated that they have a crunched timeline or they gave me a specific date, sometimes I'll smush that. So maybe I'll follow up every 3 or 4 days, but it really just depends on the client. Following up is so important, but what's equally as important is that you are presenting your packages in a way that is easy to digest for your clients and in a way that is profitable for you. So go check out this video where I will show you a simple pricing approach to make sure you are getting paid what you want and it makes sense to the client. I'll see you there.